The debate about a future Jasper Library site may be nearing its end. More on that. Plus, Operation Big Brother rolls on with another sentencing, and Purdue Extension educator Jan Dugan discusses home food preservation tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin with police arresting a pair of Birdseye residents in connection with a burglary from earlier this week. Deputies were called at 6:30 yesterday morning to a residence along Kings Ridge Road near Birdseye about a burglary that happened overnight Monday into Tuesday. When they arrived, deputies found that someone had forced their way into the residence through the front door. Through their investigation, deputies identified 30-year-old Joey Harger and 31-year-old Autumn Dyke, both of Birdseye, as the suspects. Harger and Dyke were taken into custody after they were found at a residence in Crawford County and questioned by police. Harger is facing burglary and theft charges, while Dyke is charged with aiding burglary and aiding theft. Deputies say Harger faces additional charges in connection with 2 warrants out of DuBois Superior Court for failure to appear and a writ of attachment. The good news is authorities say everything that was taken from the residence was found and returned to the homeowner. DuBois County Sheriff's deputies are looking for the person or people responsible for money that was unintentionally taken from a Jasper business. Deputies say the money was accidentally taken last Thursday from the Walmart on Jasper's north side. Deputies say a customer accidentally left an undisclosed amount of cash at the store. DCSD says a person or several people picked up the money, and it's believed that they aren't sure how to go about finding the rightful owner. The case is being investigated by Sheriff's Department Detective John Anderson, whose goal is to return the money to its rightful owner. Anderson is asking anyone who may have information to call 812-482-3522. He can also be reached on his cell phone at 812-639-9055. Though there is still no decision on a future site for the Jasper Library, there could be an end in sight, finally. Last night, in a special meeting, the Jasper Library Board continued its lengthy discussion on the feasibility of the former Hoosier Desk site. The board learned that the Jasper Cultural Center project will also be tied in with the city's ongoing push to become one of America's best communities. Board President Dean Vonderheide stated that the Cultural Center would be one of 2 projects that would be considered for city funding should Jasper win the America's Best Communities designation. The other one would be downtown improvements such as the Astor Theater. Of course, Jasper is currently in the quarterfinal round of that competition. Vonderheide says having the Cultural Center project as a potential funding target, should Jasper become one of America's best communities, only reinforces a positive viewpoint.
I believe that the Cultural Center is a great project for the city of Jasper, and the location that we're looking at currently at Hoosier Desk, the site's a great site. The building's got some issues, we know that. We're going through the analysis of it.
The board also learned that state DINO tax credits are not contingent on the preservation of the building, meaning any part of the Hoosier Desk building could be torn down if need be. Additionally, Library Director Christine Golden told the board that if the new Cultural Center were to be built at least 2 feet above the flood zone, flood insurance would not be required, according to officials with German American Insurance. Temporary flood insurance would be needed if part of the building remained in the flood zone, though that depends on lenders. Now, the board heard about a modified timeline for a likely decision on a future site like we talked about a minute ago. The Jasper Common Council and Jasper Arts Commission will meet in executive session coming up on August 12th to discuss the Cultural Center. That meeting falls the day before the Jasper Library Board's next regular meeting on August 13th. There was some public comment on the project last night. Jasper resident Janice Kempker told the board something needs to be done soon.
Kids have entered first grade, gone through elementary, middle school, high school, and graduated from college while we've been struggling with this. And I just feel like this has been the whole library thing. We've been such a poor stepchild of this town, and I think it's time for us to get something done and something good that we can use and will be well utilized in the future.
Meanwhile, Vonderheide says the board is trying to stay patient while plans come together.
When you're working with other agencies, groups, entities within the local area, you've got to be a little bit patient because they move at their pace. We're trying to expedite some things. We want to be moving faster, but we realize that these other groups, they've got to form, they've got to come together, they've got to have discussions too.
On a somewhat related note, Jasper City officials will be hosting a public celebration of its success to date in the America's Best Communities competition. That will take place Thursday, August 6th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at the Hoosier Desk building. Operation Big Brother defendants are continuing to move through the DuBois County court system, and another sentencing took place yesterday. 42-year-old Margaret Faith McDonald of Huntingburg was sentenced to a total of 10 years during a hearing yesterday in DuBois Superior Court. The first 4 of those years will be served in the State Department of Corrections, followed by 2 years on work release through DuBois County Community Corrections. McDonald will then spend 4 years on supervised probation. McDonald originally pled guilty back on June 1st to a Class B felony for dealing in methamphetamine. Under that plea agreement, Superior Court Judge Mark McConnell had complete discretion over the sentencing. However, the sentence could not be longer than 16 years. The range of sentences for Class B felonies is between 6 and 20 years, the advisory sentence being 10 years. Yesterday's sentencing means 12 of the 16 Operation Big Brother cases have been resolved. Sentences imposed in these cases have totaled 113 years, with 89 of those years being jail time. German-American Bancorp says the news continues to be positive when it comes to company growth for 2015. Company officials say earnings for this year's second quarter rose by 8% on an earnings per share basis. Net income for the second quarter came in at $7.3 million, or 55 cents a share. That's up from $6.7 million and 51 cents a share for the second quarter of 2014 fiscal year. GAB says the picture is even rosier for the year-to-date earnings. Through the first half of 2015's fiscal year, German American's earnings rose by 12% on a per-share basis, up to $14.6 million, or $1.10 per diluted share. The first half of fiscal year 2014 saw earnings of $13 million, or 98 cents per diluted share. Now, GAB says the quarterly earnings improvement can be attributed to increases in both net income and non-interest income. Net income went up 2%, or roughly $335,000 in the second quarter, while non-interest income rose by 11%, or roughly $619,000 over last fiscal year's second quarter. Total loans also went up, rising by 7%. In a news release, German-American Chairman and CEO Mark Schrader says the company is very happy with its second quarter and year-to-date earnings reports. He says company earnings have exceeded $7 million in 4 consecutive quarters, thanks to continued loan portfolio growth and GAB's disciplined approach to expense control. GAB has also announced its regular quarterly cash dividend. The company's board of directors declared it at 17 cents per share. The dividends are payable August 20th to shareholders of record as of August 10th. A preliminary cause of death for a member of the family that owns Joe Huber's Family Farm and Restaurant shows he died of traumatic asphyxiation and drowning following a lawnmower accident. Clark County Coroner Terry Conway said Tuesday the cause of death for Joe Huber III is preliminary, pending the results of toxicology tests. The 59-year-old Huber was found Monday pinned under his riding lawnmower in a pond on his southern Indiana property. Joe Huber's Family Farm and Restaurant outside the town of Starlight has been a regional destination for more than 4 decades. The restaurant seats more than 400 diners. Huber's father, Joe Huber Jr., died back in 2008 at the age of 74 after a lengthy battle with acute leukemia. And finally tonight, the Clean Power Plan will soon be finalized, and a pair of new reports are disputing claims that it will increase your electric bills. Synapse Energy Economics found that the average Indiana household that participates in an energy efficiency program will be able to save $17 a month on their electric bills in 2030. The report cites the decrease in carbon emissions that will have taken full effect by that time. And a Clean Power Path model developed by the Georgia Institute of Technology had similar results. That report also states that implementing renewable and energy-efficient policies will result in lower electrical bills along with the reduced emissions. Indiana will have to reduce its carbon emissions by 20% by the year 2030 under the Clean Power Plan. The EPA is expected to finalize that plan later this summer. All right, coming up after the break, your early Strassenfest forecast, and Jan Dugan joins Bill Potter for Inform. We're back after this.